If you have big dreams but feel paralyzed by how much work they will take, if you look at the mountain ahead and decide it's just too high to climb, this story might change everything for you. In a small, sunlit valley, there lived a young man named Leo. He had a wonderful dream. He bought a small piece of land and envisioned it as a magnificent garden filled with colorful flowers, winding stone paths, and a peaceful fountain at its center. The blueprint was clear in his mind, but Leo had one big problem. He was overwhelmed by his own vision. Every morning, he would walk to the edge of his plot. It was a tangled mess of weeds, rocks, and stubborn roots. He would look at the sheer amount of work and a heavy blanket of doubt would fall over him. He would tell himself, "This is too much for one person. Where do I even begin?" And so, he would do nothing. He'd go back inside, thinking, "I'll start tomorrow when I have more energy," or "I'll start next week when I have a better plan." But tomorrow always turned into the next day, and his beautiful dream remained just a dream, while the weeds on his land grew taller. His friends would visit and say, "Leo, just start somewhere. Pull one weed." But Leo believed that to begin, he needed a grand effort, a full weekend of hard labor to make a real difference. Anything less felt pointless. One afternoon, a heavy rainstorm swept through the valley. The next morning, Leo looked out to see his land looking worse than ever. The weeds seemed stronger, the ground harder. It was in that moment of despair that he was finally ready to give up. As he sat on his porch, feeling defeated, he noticed his elderly neighbor, Alara. She was sitting in her garden, working on the most intricate and enormous tapestry he had ever seen. It was filled with vibrant colors and complex patterns, depicting the entire valley. It was a masterpiece, and it was huge. Leo went over to her. "Alara," he said, "that is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. But how do you do it? How do you work on something so vast without losing your mind? I can't even start my small garden." Alara looked up from her work, her eyes gentle and wise. She smiled and said, "Oh, but I'm not working on a vast tapestry, Leo." Leo was confused. "But it's right there," he said, pointing at the massive cloth. She shook her head softly. "I don't see a giant tapestry," she explained. "I only see a single thread. My only goal, every single day, is to add one thread. Just one. Some days, if I feel good, I add a few more. But I always add at least one." Leo looked from the giant tapestry to his overgrown field. He was starting to understand. "But how do I start?" he asked. "How do I find my first thread?" Alara set down her needle and said, "Listen, I'll tell you 4 simple rules. If you can follow them, that will be enough. 1. Choose your one thread. Don't think about the whole garden. Your only goal for today is to pull the weeds from a patch of ground no bigger than your 2 hands. That is your single thread. 2. Weave it every day. The power is not in the size of the task, but in its consistency. Every single day, go out and clear another small patch. Rain or shine, even if it's just for 5 minutes. 3. Forget the tapestry. While you are working on your single thread, do not allow yourself to look up at the whole field. That is where the feeling of being overwhelmed lives. Focus only on the small, manageable task right in front of you. 4. Learn to love the thread. At the end of the day, don't be disappointed that the whole garden isn't finished. Instead, look at the one small patch you cleared and feel proud. You added your thread today. You were successful." Leo took her words to heart. That afternoon, he didn't try to tackle the whole garden. He walked out, knelt down, and cleared a tiny patch of weeds. It took him 10 minutes. It was a very small victory, but it felt real. The next day, he did it again, and the next, and the next. He followed Alara's 4 rules. He focused only on his thread for the day, and he celebrated that small success each evening. Slowly, miraculously, the garden began to change. A week of threads turned into a month, and a month turned into a season. One day, Leo looked up from his work and was stunned. The stone paths were laid. The flower beds were clear. He was planting his first seeds. His dream was no longer a distant vision. It was emerging from the earth, one small thread at a time. A year later, his garden was the talk of the valley. People would walk by just to admire it. He remembered what Alara had told him. The grandest achievements are not born from giant leaps, but from the quiet consistency of small, daily actions. The most beautiful tapestries are woven one single thread at a time. If you feel this story should reach more people, please like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay with us. I'll be back again with another inspiring story. Till then, be patient, be thankful, and keep moving forward.